Hello, welcome to Zero Production Value Movie Reviews. My name is Hoernke, just a guy on the internet who likes to sit around and talk about movies. And if you like to listen, then here you go. Today we're going to be discussing The Descent, directed by Neil Marshall, 2005 film. As part of one of my long-term movie watching projects, I compiled two different lists, one from Thrill List and one from Bloody Disgusting, of the best horror movies of all time. And so I'm slowly working through that list, and one of those movies that was on there was The Descent from 2005. Thrill List actually didn't have it ranked, and Bloody Disgusting had it ranked 35th overall. This list is probably maybe a year or two old, or these lists are probably about a year or two old, maybe three, but so there you go. This is a British made film set in North America, but with an entirely British cast and shot in United Kingdom. It's quite a good horror film. I don't know, I actually like it quite a lot. Actually, I wasn't super enamored with it the first time I saw it, I think when it came out, but I think I've become more enamored with it as time has passed. And actually now, with a rewatch based on this list, and I haven't had a chance to log a review on it, I actually quite enjoyed it for what it was. It does a lot of good stuff for a horror movie. One thing that I do like too is not only our horror films are all very male dominated, or there's like a female lead who falls into that final girl mantra, but it's like encompassed with a masculine exterior motivation, right? I don't know, but anyway, the point is that this is an all-female cast. It's a set of, I think, about five. I forget the actual number, 5 or 6 women, and it's basically just, for the most part of the movie, it's them, which is a nice change of pace from something with more masculine-dominated point of view, shall we say. So the nominal protagonist here is Sarah, played by Shauna McDonald. Like I said, none of these are going to be very well-known names to American audiences, and even to this day, like, I didn't know them then, and I don't know them now, so they never really caught on in a big way. But we get introduced to this group of women pretty quickly, and another thing this horror movie does that's really good is it keeps the narrative really tight. It doesn't give you a lot of superfluous explanations or data or a long drawn out preamble until it gets you where they want to get you into the situation that they want to get you in. So, but there is some preamble and introduction, and we meet Shauna. This is going to be somewhat of a spoiler review too, by the way, so I mean, it's been, what, 14, 15 years since this movie came out, so I don't even know if I really have to preface it with a spoiler review, but spoiler review. So we meet this group of girls, this group of women, and they're must get together on a semi-annual, a somewhat annual basis or something like that to have fun with each other, adventures, and they're somewhat a bunch of adrenaline junkies, adventure junkies, that sort of thing. They don't just sit around, eating bonbons and watching movies. They don't. The vacation we come in at, they're doing like a whitewater rafting trip, and then we see Sarah go off with her husband and child, and then tragically the husband and child are killed in an auto accident. So Sarah is left to her own devices. Obviously, she's extremely depressed, and everything that goes in. We just flash forward a year, so she still hasn't really gotten over anything. Not that you ever can, but her friends managed to get her out again, back into the world, to go on another one of these adventure vacation things. They think, maybe this will break her out of her funk, be something good for her, get with the girls, have some fun, get her mind off those horrible concerns that she has in her normal day-to-day existence, and she can live maybe briefly a different life in this vacation existence with all her girlfriends. So the vacation that they've decided on is this spelunking vacation. Nominally, I believe it's probably somewhere in the foothills or the mountains of the Appalachians in western North Carolina. Really about the only data that I thought it would have been Kentucky or West Virginia, but we're given, the only piece of data you're given is you see them driving a vehicle with a North Carolina license plate on it. Now, could they have traveled there for some reason? Sure. They could have gone from anywhere, but you just kind of think you see a North Carolina license plate and it's probably set in North Carolina. Although you never really know for sure. They don't reference the place other than that, and it's just, you know, hills, forest, mountain, anyway. So they're out in the middle of nowhere, and then they all go into this cabin, or into this cavern system, right? And the leader of the group nominally is this girl called Juno, played by Natalie Mendoza, and she's kind of the most brazen of the group. And we actually sort of got a hint that she might have been having an affair with Sarah's husband, but that's just like a sidelong glance, and they never really come back to it. So, but I think that's mainly a setup to give us the impression that Juno is a bit of a, you know, alpha female, you know, sort of that person. In any case, so they descend into this cave system. And so it's really well shot, and I went up to look because it's pretty believable. I wanted to know if they actually shot in caves, and it's actually all built on a sound set at Pinewood Studios. So really impressive set design from that point of view. And also, I love horror films like this where there is an external horror element, i.e. the monsters or whatever is going to kill them, but then there's also an added layer of the setting. Whether or not that's something like Alien and they're in space, so the space becomes, you know, an added horror element, or, you know, in this case, the cave system that they're in, you know, by its very nature, they're crawling through these tight spaces, they're underground, there's, you know, no light, there's deep crevasses, you know, that by itself also is a horrific element, and then you add that with the monsters, and it just amplifies the entire tension of the whole situation. And makes for a more taut, more dramatic, more potentially horrific film if done well. So they're going along, and through their own devices, things become challenging. One of the number actually breaks a leg, and then it's a ways through actually where. I mean, we know they're in a horror movie, but they don't know they're in a horror movie. So what they encounter are these monsters, these sort of things that must have been buried underground, long ago forgotten, and now they're stumbling into them for the first time. And you're like, well, why didn't anybody stumble in before? Well, Juno makes a point of saying that they were supposed to go to a very well-known cave system that they had a map for, all this stuff. And she, unbeknownst to everybody else, took them to a unmapped cave system that had just recently been discovered, but nobody had really gone in and explored. Hence, they can find something new and, you know, theoretically something that nobody's seen before. And in this case, it's something horrific. These humanoid-looking devil monster things. Since they live in the dark, it seems like they hunt by smell and sound, so they're actually really quite an interesting foe. So at one point, they finally figure out that they're in a horror movie, and these things are hunting them, and you know, it just becomes this sort of like mad free for all, and they get whittled down in grand horrific fashion. But also in a good horror movie, we find out that it's not just the monsters that might be the monsters, if you know what I mean. They're the human element in a catastrophe like this also comes to the forefront, and humans can be just as monstrous as the monsters they're trying to get away from. And that becomes a very interesting point, and it makes for a very interesting ending, a very not really a twist ending, but a very exclamation point ending that you're like, there's a few times in this where it's like something happens and you're like, whoa, like, and most of those moments have nothing to do with the monsters per se. Like I said, it has to do with the human element. But overall, like I said, the tight plot, you can see the influences of other horror movies in this stuff, such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Aliens and Deliverance. Even not really a horror movie per se, but kind of that, you know, all kind of melded into this ball, made into its own original thing. So very good movie. On a list of 100 greatest horror movies, easily I think this probably belongs on a list like that. So I would definitely give The Descent a strong recommendation. I know there's a sequel, which I've never watched, so I can't say anything about that. But I'll give The Descent from 2005, directed by Neil Marshall, a B+. Thanks for watching. Tune in for more videos soon. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks for watching.